Hey everyone, I am Yash from the Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery team here at Jam City. As the story hits its 3-year mark, we're here today to answer some of the questions you submitted over the last week about upcoming releases and the story in general. Let me invite the rest of our crew and our two very special, might I say, extremely talented hosts so we can kick this off.
Thank you very much for joining us. How is everybody?
We're doing fantastic. So excited to be here.
Doing great as well. How are you, James and Oliver?
We're doing absolutely fantastic as well. Thanks very much for asking. So anyway, how is everybody doing in the comments section? So I'll tell you what, let's see some of your excitement in emoji form. Let's see them. I'm glad to see you guys are equally as excited as we are right now. Anyway, I'm Oliver Phelps, and this is my brother James Phelps, and we played Fred and George Weasley in the Harry Potter films. And we are definitely very honoured to be here today with you guys, co-hosting this Q&A live stream to chat with the developing team about Harry Potter, Hogwarts Mystery, and all the interesting things that happen behind the scenes. All right, so let's get started. So today we are celebrating 3 years of Harry Potter, Hogwarts Mystery. And of course, 3 years, that's amazing. Anyway, the game was launched on April 25th in 2018, and I recall playing an early beta version of the game at the celebration of Harry Potter. There in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios, Orlando, Florida. It's a mouthful. Mouthful, isn't it? Both of us had such a great time designing our own avatars and picking our own wands to get sorted. It was super fun. But now we're here 3 years later to get to know the Hogwarts Mystery dev team at Jam City a little better. So we have to speak to them about their experience in making the game and what makes it really awesome. So let's start off with some introductions. So please, everybody, please tell us your name, what your role is in the team, and more importantly, what Hogwarts house you are in. So Yash, why don't you start first?
Sure. Hey all, I am the aforementioned Yash. I'm the product manager for Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery. What that means is that I work with pretty much everyone on the team on the design and long-term planning for the game. My Hogwarts house is Gryffindor, and with that, I'll pass the baton off to Grace.
Hi, everyone. My name is Grace, and I'm an associate narrative designer for the game. I write different quests. Specifically, I write a lot of main quests, and my Hogwarts house is Slytherin. And I'll pass it over to Joe.
Hey, my name is Joe. I'm here on behalf of the art team for Hogwarts Mystery. My role is studio animation director, and that means that I manage all the super talented animators on all of the games that we produce at our studio. For the past few years, I've been especially focused on leading the Potter animation team in creating all the really cool acting and action that we get to do with this great cast of creatures and characters. My Hogwarts house is Slytherin.
Oh, there's too many Slytherins going on. Anyway, and for all the viewers watching, if you could please drop into the comments section as to what house you guys are in. We'd love to see what majority holds the house here. All right, so anyway, before we jump into the Q&A portion, I'd like to note that at the end of this live stream, we'll be announcing the winner of the anniversary sweepstakes, and the prize being a house-themed gift. Let me try that again. Bit of a mouthful. Good mouthfuls. Anyway, the winning prize will be a house-themed gift trunk collection from the Harry Potter shop. Just make sure to stay tuned until the very end to find out who the winner is. Anyway, let's start with the first question. How did you all get into the gaming space, and what advice would you have for viewers who are interested in doing the same?
I can kick this off. To be honest, I grew up playing some games with my brother, but I never really expected to find myself working in the gaming space, least of all on a Wizarding World story. I started here as a product analyst because it fit my background, and I found good mentors here while interviewing. What's helped me over the years is learning from the people around me, especially in a place where everyone's really good at what they do, including the people on the call right here. As far as a piece of advice goes, a piece of advice I was given, which I'd love to pass along, is to play a lot of different kinds of games and think about them critically. What's unique here? What value does this provide to a player? What would you change about it, and why?
Let's see. For me personally, I attended a school in Washington State specifically for game design. I think it's important to note, however, that one of the best ways to learn about games and game design is to play them and analyze them. There's tons of free resources out there to learn how to make a game, Unity 3D being one of them, and they have tons of great tutorials. And I think one of the best pieces of advice I can give is something my professor once told me, which is, I can teach you how to do the thing, but I cannot teach you how to have passion.
Oh, that's good. So for me, the short answer is I worked incredibly hard and studied hard in college. After graduating art school, I got jobs like delivering pizzas, and I kept applying for any animation related job, and until a college friend of mine actually helped me land my first job. Making friends, just generally being a good person, is incredibly important in this industry. And you have to keep, of course, improving your skills and developing your techniques. So in terms of advice for budding artists, first and foremost, keep working on your skill, draw as much as possible, find works of artists that you admire and really study what they do. Going to art school can be a really great thing, but it's not always necessary. There's a ton of really great online workshops and classes. So with that, when you're making your art, share as much as possible, but not just to get praise. Really look for critique that you can get from some people that you trust. Now, whether it's asking for feedback or applying for a role, don't let closed doors get you down. It's part of the process. And one big thing that I wish that I had known when I was first applying for jobs is that every studio is looking for something different. So make sure that you're not just applying with one portfolio everywhere. Think about the types of games or projects that you like working on. Make sure your work is catered to that and apply to those studios. And then lastly, be patient and keep working, and you'll get where you want to be.
That is great advice, everybody. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Just keep plugging away, even if you any setbacks, just keep going. So it's really key to stay focused and keep working on your dreams, whatever you're looking at becoming. If it's an actor or a game developer, just keep going. And if you experience setbacks on the way, then it's just part of the journey. But of course, it doesn't end with just getting your dream job, as I'm sure there are loads of challenges in the day-to-day of game making. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you guys face in your roles in game development or in general?
I'll hop in there. For me, one of the biggest challenges is balancing the scope that you have with satisfying player expectation. So if we had infinite resources, we could do absolutely anything that we want. But in any game, you have to look for ways to be efficient with the ways that you visualize your story and how you meet game design requirements. And all that needs to come together in a way that's as enjoyable as possible for our players. The world of Harry Potter is vast, and bringing that kind of richness to a device that fits in your pocket is always a fun challenge.
I think the biggest challenge for me is making sure that what I write will resonate with a wide audience. It's easy to write for yourself, but it's a lot harder to take into account how other people think. My opinion and what I might like to do is not necessarily what other people want to do or what their opinion is. So I have to be conscious of that while I'm writing. It can be really hard to step outside of your little sphere and consider multiple perspectives, but it's also important when you're writing for a game like ours with an audience as diverse and large as we have.
I can add to the game development aspect of it in general. A big challenge here is creating something that can self-sustain on the mobile platform. The great thing about the platform is it is available to everyone, but that does make it a little difficult to create something lasting, where you can both create an immersive world and tell a full story. To address this in the last couple of years especially, we've tried to achieve a balance in our releases, making quality of life changes like updates to the Avatar creator, while releasing gorgeous in-game moments like the Valentine's Day Ball this year, as well as new features like the recently released Memory Book and Magical Milestones. In general, we are constantly looking for ways to improve, expand, and offer players the ability to make choices, which we know are important to your experience. An aspect which complicates development a little further is we need to have our releases planned out 5 to 6 months in advance, given the amount of work which goes into the research, design, and production of these updates. We're currently working on story releases for late September, which is wild. This often means that there's a gap between us receiving your feedback and the updates we make accordingly going live. Even now, we have a bunch of exciting releases lined up we would love to put out right now if we could. However, going back to the original question, the challenge is to prioritize the right releases and develop sustainably.
That does sound a challenge, but okay. I'm glad that you guys are able to find the right balance, though. I mean, it's quite impressive to think how far we've come in gaming, from playing open world games on these big consoles with like cartridges to start with, to now having the world of magic accessible in the palm of your hand. Okay, right. So next up, we'll jump to the next question for you guys, the players. Now, the guys have submitted a question to the dev team to answer a very, very popular question. Why can't Bill, Charlie, and Tonks be dated?
I can answer this one. Our game is set in the 1980s before Harry Potter begins attending Hogwarts. We see a lot of iconic canon characters because of that, like Tonks, Professor McGonagall, and Bill and Charlie Weasley. Since our story is inspired by the Wizarding World, it's important that we respect the canon that is already established, and that unfortunately includes romance. We know that Bill goes on to have a relationship with Fleur, and Tonks falls in love with Remus Lupin. As for Charlie, we know he's devoted to his study of dragons, who wouldn't be, and canon tells us that he never married or had children. Sorry.
Well, no, that makes sense, doesn't it? That makes sense. Well, we won't want anyone to get heartbroken while playing the game either, would we? So, although I've heard there are some pretty dramatic storylines in the game, which brings me to my next question. What are the most special, popular adventures amongst all the players?
Speaking of dramatic storylines, the Headkit special adventure in Year 6 is definitely high on the list. Players mentioned that it was one of their favorite special adventures and that it hit home emotionally, which is a testament to the writing team of this game. I won't say much more about it so as to avoid giving away spoilers, but it is a really beautifully written quest which closes a major story arc. And of course, all the dating-related quests have definitely been fan favorites, including the one which is live right now. But if I had to call out one, it would be last year's Festival of Fun special adventure, where we experienced outdoor classes. One of my personal favorites there was Outdoor Potions with Professor Snape. Besides that, a few others which I loved are Teacher Appreciation featuring Professor McGonagall, OWLs, which is a major moment in every Hogwarts student's journey, and Flying Solo featuring our very own Talbot.
Ah, of course, Talbot. It's definitely an interesting character. Although, personally, I really like Talbot Karasu in the game. I mean, she's sneaky, she doesn't always follow the rules, and I suppose kind of like how Fred and George would do, especially in the books anyway, with great storyline and character. We need equally amazing art to support it. And one player has asked, the art team has done such a great job in the in-game environments, especially the expansiveness of the mystery of magic. Can we get some more places like that to explore?
Yeah, we're always looking to bring new environments to the game. It's definitely a time-consuming process. The Ministry of Magic, for those of you who are not in Year 7 yet, it's a new environment where your career arc takes off. And it took between 4 and 5 months to get that into game. Every element in there, the statues, the flooring, all the little details, took a lot of effort to nail down. And we start with concept, we go to 3D modeling, we do animation and effects, and eventually our content team works with engineering to get it all hooked up in game. We also try to bring our players in the game to places that we've not explored in the films and books, like Madame Puddifoot's Teach House and the multiple cursed vaults hidden in the Hogwarts Castle. We make these based on descriptions in the books, and we get a lot of real-life location reference. Do stay tuned, because we're definitely looking to add more environments to the game. Year 7, the final year, is going to be packed with a lot of surprises.
Amazing. Yeah, well, you can really see all the hard work that you guys put in to make it so immersive. I'm sure everybody who's watching right now definitely appreciates that. By the way, I want to say hello to everybody that's joining us from all over the world. We've got getting lots of flags and everything popping up where everyone's from. And birthdays. And birthdays. Happy birthday if you're joining us for your birthday. But so here's another art-related question. So what is the most difficult piece of in-game art the team has had to create?
Probably clubhouses. It was a really fun and exciting project. A lot of teams had to work together to make this, and it was tricky because we wanted something that felt completely new but totally Hogwarts. And we had a lot of fun researching the books, the movies, every possible concept art that we could find. And clubs were special because they didn't exist in the story. So we had the chance to break new ground with how they would look and add something fresh that fits solidly into this magical realm. To be honest, given the overwhelmingly positive reaction to the initial release, we've been working on expansions to clubs, and that should slowly roll out this year.
I'm sure the fans are really, really enjoying all the new environments shown in the club section of the game as well. I mean, I really like the reserves where all the magical creatures live. I mean, it's almost like stepping into Nitsuke. Yeah, but I really like the cursed vaults, which are mentioned in the books by Bill, but wouldn't have known that the vaults would be underwater and one's hiding a dragon inside, for example. But it's wicked that you guys could create all that. Okay, next question I have is, as much as we love Penny and Marula, we'd love to see other characters featured in the special adventures. So will we get to see more of these different quests in the future?
So a lot of our special adventures have early year predicates so that they're available to a wider range of players. This means we tend to use early year characters like Penny and Marula so that we're able to write quests that players of any year can enjoy. We've started to focus on lesser used characters like Liz and Esmelda in character side quests so that we can give them more love and character development. For example, one of my main goals while I was writing the Liz side quest was to grow Liz as a character so that we could make her more than just the magical creature and expert. I think it's really important that we show that these characters aren't one-sided and that they have diverse experiences and unique personalities. And in the upcoming special adventures, as a little bit of a teaser, you'll see more focus on the characters we've introduced more recently, not to mention brand new ones.
I'm sure the players would love that. Here's a question more specific about the game making. What is the process like in coming up with new game features? For example, how did the new dating feature come to fruition?
That's a great question. Our biggest features, in short, come from player feedback. There's a lot of research which goes into the design of these features, and it is a collaborative effort. Clubs is a great example. What became Clubs has been in the works since around when I joined the team a couple years ago, and since then it's been through multiple major iterations, and every department has collaborated and owned different parts of it at some point before and after release. For the design itself, we did extensive player interviews and surveys to understand the pain points players encountered when they play the game. One of the more surprising finds which came out of this process was that the tapping mechanic was a relaxing part of a lot of players' day-to-day. Rather than removing the mechanic as a whole, players preferred for each tap to have more intention, which became the core of this feature. Once we have the core design pillar, we'll iterate on it. Major updates like Clubs go through rounds of behind-the-scenes player testing, like beta testing, and so on. And then once it's live, we'll work on additional updates based on the next round of player feedback. To answer the specific question, a permanent dating feature has been a long-standing request from players, and it went through a very similar process as Clubs. What's unique about the feature is its theme, which is dating. Dating is a very personal choice, which looks different across cultures and for each individual. To account for that, the team surveyed players from various countries to understand their expectations from a dating feature in the wizarding world. And that's what's resulted in the broadness of the feature itself. Now that the initial feature is live, and a quick sneak peek, we're working on options within the feature for players to go exclusive, if they choose, but also go on quests unique to each character.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you guys go through so much research to better understand your players, and it really does tell. I think everybody's very appreciative of this. And judging by the number of questions regarding romance, it really looks like the dating feature is one of the coolest updates that you guys have done. Yeah, so viewers, let's show the Hogwarts Mystery team your love for these new features. Literally show your love for it. So keep those hearts coming, guys. They look absolutely brilliant. Okay, all right. Moving on. Yes, heart. Yeah, that's it. I know it's not emoji, but there we go. Anyway, all right. The next question was definitely one of the most ask questions on the list. Why wasn't our characters, Fred and George, in the game? Were they say that? Yeah. Okay, and everybody else.
Characters in the game.
And also, don't forget we're going on that one. Because I suppose you say it's an aging thing. Why don't characters age as well?
Okay, so that's one I can take. We get that question so often. Currently in the game, we do have a few ways for players to look more mature, like a little bit of facial hair, maybe not this much, but you can add makeup and sophisticated avatar customizations. On the art side, though, it's tricky when it comes to creating all the different outfits and accessories that go on a character. And if we change the character model's height especially, there'll be a lot of adjustments that we would have to make to all of the outfit models in the game with our current game engine. So the amount of live updates we already have in the game and that we push out on a weekly basis, it greatly increases the risk that the models just won't look like they're properly fitted on the character. On a visual production side, we would effectively have to recreate every scene that's in the game, adjusting the cameras to match the different heights of the characters to make sure everyone's framed correctly. And that would put more stress on the game engine. So to ensure better experience for our players, we essentially decided that characters are not going to age that much at the moment. But it's definitely something we're actively looking into. And it's not to say that we'll never age characters in the game, so stay tuned.
That's great. As you may tell, I personally like the facial hair options, which I'm sure, Joe, you do too. It also reminds me of when our characters drank the aging potion and to try and get past the age line in the Goblet of Fire, which caused us to magically grow beards. But I've also seen some really cool ensembles online with different outfits of players able to win from the different events, which actually brings me to my next question. I love the Collect Stars event, but sometimes there are just too many to participate in. Is there a reason why you have so many events happening at once?
I can answer this one. The main reason is that we want to address a wide variety of player motivations, as well as account for players being in different parts of the story. There's players who play the game solely for events, players who enjoy competitive aspects of some event, players who are just starting out, versus players who are in year 7 and caught up to the story. Given the varying motivations, we do try and have the participation in events be a choice players can make, and therefore progress in the story isn't gated by participation in events. We have also tested gaps in events before, but we tend to see a notable long-term drop in the number of users whenever that happens, besides the positive responses we see from other users. It goes back to trying to find that balance. All that said, looking forward, the goal for us is to have a wide variety of events available to fans. The tricky part is making sure we're listening to all our players, given the fact that a majority of our fans aren't on social forums. We have 5 event types right now, excluding magical milestones, and we're working on at least 3 completely new event styles designed around your feedback to go live this year, including one which goes into beta testing tomorrow.
That makes so much sense. Everyone has different preferences for gaming, and the different types of content is meant to cater for all the different interests. All right, okay. The next question is related to storytelling. What is the process in coming up with new characters in the story?
When coming up with new characters, we try to think first about the role they're going to play in the story. If the role can be fulfilled by an existing character, then there's no need to create a new one. But if we find that we need a new character, we can start figuring out who they are, what they do, and what their motivation is in the world of Hogwarts Mystery. From there, we have conversations with the art team about what we want this character to artistically look like, and eventually we begin to write them. And as a quick teaser, because I'm full of them today, we have a character coming up who is a vampire, and he'll be exploring how his life changed overnight and how he's coping with it, both at the surface level and on an internal feeling. It's a story many people can probably relate to.
Now that sounds like a cool character. I mean, it looks like the players need to get to year 7 to find out what he's all about, right? So here's a question for you all to answer. What is your favorite thing about working on Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery?
I'll go first. My favorite thing about working on the game is when I get to see people react to the content I've written. It genuinely warms my heart and reminds me why I wanted to get into the game industry to begin with. I also really love being able to pitch like crazy ideas and write stories that connect with different audiences.
I can go next. I'm going to cheat a bit and name two things which go hand in hand. It's a chance to work on expanding the lore around the Wizarding World and the Hogwarts Mystery team itself. I grew up reading all the books, and the world was a big part of my childhood, as it was for a lot of people on the team. So it is an honor to be able to take that world and create a story where everyone can be themselves in their Hogwarts journey. Obviously, as we've talked about all the work which goes on behind the scenes, this isn't possible without a team which is passionate about creating a world which everyone can be a part of and bringing to life a varied cast. You can see that passion in little story details like a puffskein conversation happening in the background, or the detail which goes into development of each of the magical creatures. This story wouldn't be what it is without the people who worked so hard to make it happen, and I'm truly fortunate to be part of this team. I also want to take a quick moment to acknowledge the messages we receive from you, the players. We love how active this global community is, and we appreciate that you care enough to send us feedback. The last year has been difficult. Honestly, it still is in a lot of places, and it's affected a lot of people personally. But it's hugely motivating for us to hear anecdotes from players about how the story and the game have impacted your personal journeys. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I have to agree that one of the best things about this project is the people that I get to work with and learn from every single day. We have a lot of varied backgrounds and perspectives, and all of that comes together to expand upon a magical universe that's loved by people around the globe. In terms of team size, there are 80 people on the entire Hogwarts Mystery team, and that means about somewhere between 4 and 10 people in each department. So departments like design, content, QA, 2D and 3D art, animation, etc., etc. We're all Potterheads, and we really understand the passion of the Harry Potter fandom. So there's an exciting energy that comes from being a part of something that's bigger than any one of us.
Yeah, that is so great to hear, and it sounds like you guys really have a solid, fun team all to be a part of. And I think it really does come through with the end result of the game. I think it is fantastic. You can tell that you guys love what you do, and I'm sure all the players can appreciate that as well. But I'm really sad to say that we are now down to our final question. Well, can you give us a sneak peek into the next exciting update for the game?
This might be my favorite question. We've mentioned a couple updates already, like the event schedule for beta testing tomorrow, updates to clubs, quests getting added to dating. Besides that, an upcoming exciting update is a way for players to start previously released special adventures, which you might have missed or haven't been able to complete whenever you choose. And coming soon after, chocolate frogs. That's all I'll say for now about that.
What a cliffhanger! Did you hear that, guys? Chocolate frogs may be coming to the game. Super exciting stuff. I don't know if there's an emoji for chocolate frogs, but keep going with the emojis, guys. It looks absolutely fantastic. So let's show the team how excited you are with some frog emojis instead of chocolate frog emojis. Frog emojis in the comment section. All right, well, that's all the questions we have today for the Q&A portion. But now I will announce the winner of the anniversary sweepstakes, which is a house-themed gift trunk collection from the online Harry Potter shop. I think you will agree it looks rather epic. There are 13 items in the collection: a Hogwarts travel trunk, personalised Hogwarts acceptance letter, bunch of house-themed accessories, and a Hedwig plush, and so much more. And the winner is, for the sweepstake, drumroll please, Oliver. Sarah from SawJap05 on Instagram. Congratulations, Sarah. You have won this amazing prize. Hooray! Congratulations, Sarah. And that concludes our 3rd anniversary live stream for Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery. If any of you joined halfway through the live stream, you can rewatch this live stream on IGTV on the game's official Instagram page, Remember to like this video, comment your favourite moments from the live stream, and if you haven't already, of course, download Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery to start your Hogwarts story today. Be sure to also keep up with the latest news and updates from wizardingworld.com. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in today and for all your love and support for the game all these years. We hope you all have a great day or evening or whatever it is, wherever you are. We'll see you next time.
Will do. Guys, thank you very much for joining us as well. It was great speaking to you, and I have huge newfound respect for all the hard work you do. So thank you so much, and keep it up.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you, and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, likewise. You guys rock.
Yeah.
And thanks to the fans. Great to see so much of you guys here. This is fantastic.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.